Hey, we are live. What's going on, everyone? It's Steven, as always. But Steven arranged something fun that we haven't done in a very long time because I am very busy and semi-lazy when it comes to this. We were joined this week by Joni. How the hell are you?
Hey, I'm doing great.
And Joni, are you usually who I talk to in DMs when stuff was sent, or
Probably about half and half.
probably
Whoever
half
has
and
the
half?
time.
So we've been promoting. Is it Iacon? Is that also the proper way?
Yep, Iacon.
Iacon. All right, cool. I like to guess things. I never figure out how to actually pronounce it. So we've been guessing this for a long time, and and it's awesome to be right. Iacon 3D Labs. I have done reviews in the past. They've sent me over the incubator, the resin incubator for my turtles. It's still in my Techno drone that I 3D modeled. So it is a permanent fixture. I'm really big fan of that. You did send me over something fun that is still in the wrapper. It's going to be a live reaction. Steven has already opened it. Steven couldn't wait.
I have no patience.
But before we jump into some of the photos and videos that was sent over to me, I'd like you to introduce yourself a little better than I can, if that's cool.
Okay. Well, I'm Joni, one half of Iacon 3D Labs. Jeff is my husband, and we both work together on as a side job doing 3D designs. He does the design and most of the printing piece, all resin printing. So we got into this around COVID, actually, just to kind of have something to sustain ourselves. And he was always into Transformers and kind of like the two big things. And so he was a collector. This is, his collection here. And Iacon comes from Transformers. It's the city where the Transformers are originally from.
Okay.
So we just decided to kind of try some stuff. I do all the other things besides the modeling and the printing. So, we just kind of split it up, and it's been fun. He taught himself he's a designer by trade, but he taught himself the 3D modeling on his own. And I kind of, help with QC and deciding how things are going to look and what might work out good. And we figure it out together with help with the colors. I decide on the colors that we're going to make stuff and how it's going to look more on the finished product. And, we just kind of figure stuff out, whatever we think is cool or people are asking for, and we try and make it, see if we can do it.
And I will echo that, because there's a lot of times where we'll be talking about something that is really neat, and then all of a sudden I feel like it pops up as an offer, something that you guys are making, and I think that's really cool. So I found out about you guys, man. I think I don't know who I was joking with, but I also got into 3D modeling and printing during COVID myself, and it's very hard, everyone. It's not for everyone, I will tell you that. It is
part.
Oh my God. I haven't resin printed in 2 years because I cracked my screen.
Sure.
And in my move, and then I got a new screen and it was the wrong size. So I had to buy another screen and I put it in, but it's also now semi lopsided and I can't level it out. So when I do when I do my resin prints, it is a nightmare. And I'm like, you know what? I'm done with this. So it's been sitting in my basement. I don't have the patience for it. But I still do FDM printing every once in a while, which Steven is very familiar with, because this is still sitting on my floor, not going to him. But there's 11 of them there. Remember when I was going to do those? But anyway, there's a lot of respect that I personally have for people that have the ability to do these 3D prints, doing resin or FDM. There is so much more that people don't realize that go into them. It's not just here's a model and then hit print and it magically appears. They don't understand the steps, and I mean steps as in not the steps to do it, but steps as in the mathematics in 3D printing. So this stuff is hard. So a lot of respect.
It has a huge learning curve for sure. And we just taught ourselves from knowing nothing about it and trial and error. I mean, it took I don't know. I think it took us a couple months to get a good print, like of any kind in the beginning, just trying stuff out because there's so many different factors and so many different things. And then we just experiment and try things and figure it out. And then we did some things in the beginning that we redid later on because we figured out ways to do it way more efficiently. And that actually happened with a lot of our turtle stuff. Like we started off and it was such a tough process, like painting. We were painting everything, printing it in gray and primering it and painting it and then detailing it. And it just took so much time. We had to charge like a ton of money for it because it was a time suck. And then we finally figured out how to do it, print it in color and really be more efficient with it. And so we've improved certainly over the years. So
yeah, the hardest part about 3D printing that I've personally learned is when you do get it locked down and you're like, you've got a good couple months, then all of a sudden something you don't know happens and you're like, that is frustrating. Then you're trying to figure out what went wrong. My simple one was my FDM. The back, one of the wires came like loose in the back so that my tray wasn't moving properly, and that was it. Like that was it. And it was down for 6 months. My buddy just came over. He couldn't figure it out. 6 months later, he comes back and he's like, "Oh my, it's not plugged in." I'm like, "What?" And he just pushes it in, and all of a sudden it's working again. And I'm like, "You've got to be kidding." So that's like, it's crazy, and that's one of the easy fixes. But I did bring up your website over here. Hopefully everybody can see it just fine. I got the Transformers collection. I have a friend who's a huge Transformers fan, so I'm pretty sure he'll be interested in a lot of this. But we've already explained what you guys do, which is pretty cool. But let's look at available now, if you don't mind. As always, we fly by the seat of our pants, so we like to kind of show some of the things off that you're doing. And these are all available right now, right?
Yeah.
This one's a must, in my opinion, the Tempesters Arcade. I love that you have it in multicolor, which I think is a lot of fun. I don't know if I can get a bigger photo of it. There it is. Yeah. Look at that. So is this painted or is this multicolor resin layers?
So it's printed in the lightest purple that you see there is actually the color of the print. And then it's painted in several other colors.
Yes.
So we have kind of a couple different painting processes that we use depending on how deep the print is, how fine the layers are, and you have to kind of offset them in different heights sometimes to make sure that we can paint them properly and all that. So yeah, there's a couple different colors in that one, and that goes into the time. Obviously, it takes longer to do it. It's a little bit more detailed, but it really makes the details come out. So
yeah. It's really cool. I've been contemplating it myself. I saw you guys post it, and I was like, "Oh, I got to grab that," and then I completely forgot about it. But it does peg into the street dioramas as we showed off. So there's a lot of different things on here that you can go through. We've got the door, which is an awesome, cool, fun replacement.
I did order that from them. It's amazing. I love it. Yep.
That's awesome. The Ninja Pizzeria, I think, is really cool. I'll turn my volume down just a little bit on my end. And then the Dojo weapon stand, I think, is incredible. So good job like throwing this one together. I think this is great. This is a beautiful piece in my opinion. I love the wood grain you did on it.
It really is. I did pick that up as well. I have in my layer. You can't see it right now, but it's great. And to be honest, I just put it together. I didn't even know you can put, I think that Splinter sword you can put in there.
Yeah.
So I got to do that and do that as well. So it's great.
But $20 is not bad for these kinds of things. I'm going to stop sharing for right now. For people in the community, I do hear a lot of people that are like, that's too much money. I don't see the value in it. It's one accessory. But, how long would you say something like that piece takes to make?
Well, so out of the gate from the beginning, there's design time, obviously.
Exactly,
It's a one-time cost, but we design everything that we do from scratch. We don't buy designs. We want it to be the only place you can get what we make. So, so there's that starts off. That's easily hours of time in design to begin with. And then, printing time doesn't, that's hands off. So we don't really worry so much about printing time. And then you've got to clean it because it's a resin print.
Exactly.
So you got to take it off. You got to clean it in alcohol, IPA, and you have to clean it several times to make sure you get all the loose resin off of it, cure it in a curing station, let it dry overnight. Actually, we let it dry overnight and then cure it. And then we tend to not do stuff that has supports so that we don't have to do any sanding. That's a thing that we got to also because it takes a lot of time and it's inconsistent. So most of the things we print directly on our build plate so that it is doesn't have that step to it. So that does save some time. And then, then there's some time in painting it, and then we clear coat everything, airbrush clear coat after it's done. So, so a piece probably, and we try and do several at one time to kind of, have a little bit of a economy of scale there in, just going from one to the next thing. But on an individual piece, I mean, it's still probably half an hour of hands-on messing around with it time. And then, over the course of its life from beginning to end, it's more than that because of all the other little pieces that have to go with it,
Yeah. The reason I asked about that is I have a lot of experience with that as well. And people don't understand there's a lot of work. It looks
it's not just print it and take it off the printer like you were saying.
Yeah. This stuff takes time. So when you see something like that, so for me personally, seeing what people do in the community, $20 in my personal opinion is a steal. So people that are interested in something like that, which I did put a link in the description for your website, go, it's worth it. I honestly feel that stuff is worth it, especially when it's a special, not say one of one, because obviously there's multiple of these, but like one of a kind art piece that we're just not getting from any kind of mainline. So it definitely fills the gap. I know NECA's always doing a ton of stuff, but that I don't think is coming. So that is something that is worth grabbing for the collector community.
Absolutely. Here's the thing. To be honest, I can't even do 3D prints. I've never tried it. All this stuff goes over my head. So there's somebody local to me named Matt. He's maybe 20 miles from me. Does awesome work, and I keep on bugging him. I'm like, hey, you can do this for me for $10, right? And he always laughs at me. He says, sure, but I know he does a favor for me. But I completely agree with you that this stuff takes time and well worth the money that people charge for these type of things. I just never really knew how much time and effort it takes, especially the cost of the material now. So I give you guys applaud for everything you guys do. So.
Yeah, and people just don't really realize that a lot of the time, because it is sort of has that idea like, oh, well, it just comes out of, you buy, and people that buy a model, I mean, you could literally buy a model of something, print it, and have a thing, with almost no work to it. But that's not the kind of stuff that we have, and we specifically chose resin printing, even though it does take longer because of the level of detail that you can get out of it. I mean, it's much smoother finished product than you would see with your average FDM printer. And you can get things so much finer in there, you know? So we really just we go to the collector who really wants something, like you said, that's like a nice specialty piece that is going to set something off that people notice, that you can enjoy, that's interactive to a certain point. We try to have something that you can kind of like do with a lot of the stuff. And to your point, that fills a gap that we're not seeing, even though there's a ton of other stuff out there. I mean, the nice thing about Turtles is that it's so rich with so many different details of all kinds of things. Like you can just go through, screenshots of episodes and find stuff, and little just little fun stuff that you can do, We did a TV in the beginning before they had the set that had the TV on it. And it was fun, like setting it all up and like looking at the pictures and trying to get like the books. There's books under one of the legs and they'd like change color, depending on which episode it was. And we're like, oh, so what are the books this time? And trying to figure out how we were going to put it together and all that. That ended up being way more time intensive that was really worth it. It gets to where like you can't charge people that much for that. It's just so much work.
It is.
And then it came, then NECA came out with one. So it was like, all right, well, we're not going to make that anymore. But I still like that piece because it was cool. It's got all kinds of different things. It had little screens in it. It has all different kinds of colors. So like, it's fun to come up with that stuff and figure it out too.
Is it the one that had like the slit in the top of it and you could slide the?
Mm-hmm.
I remember that because I
yeah.
made my own. I actually
Had
I
like
3D
screens,
modeled one myself, and I was selling them, and I was really a big fan of it. It had replaceable screens with a magnet on them, with different like images. And I saw yours. I'm like, well, mine sucks. So I was like,
we didn't even get to where you could put somebody. I forget who it was. Put a light inside of his, so it looked like it was even backlit to one of the photographers.
Oh, it's so cool.
And that looked. I was like, oh, that would have been so cool. And so people get other ideas from it too, which it's neat to see.
Yeah, that one's really awesome. Jeff had sent me over some photos. Admittingly, I did not read if there's anything in the email, but it was a share drive, so I wanted to make sure that we go over these. Is this? I don't know if this is a new product. Is this something that's on the website right now? I am a little ignorant to it.
Wait, before you open it and show it off, how about you unbox your?
That's not what I was showing.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Oh, this is just a table.
Oh, okay.
Ta-da! It's a table.
Get with it, Steven. Is this a table? Is that what I'm looking at here? Like you guys are doing tables?
No, we don't do that table. This is the
looking at here, though.
This is the pre-shot. None of our stuff is in that one right now.
Oh,
it's just the anticipation shot where he's like, "Where's my stuff?"
Well, the egg's on my face because I was like, I know that this all comes in this, so I was like, well, I didn't know what was.
This is to experience the emptiness that is the table. It desperately needs something on the table.
You do?
All right. Well, I think they're in order. Oh, thanks, Steven. Okay, so Steven knows. Gary wasn't briefed on what we're doing here.
This is what I told you. Okay. Don't listen to me.
By this. Dude, you don't even know what my life is right now. It is a nightmare. But Mikey's bringing in some tools. And it says does machine. So Steven has his. We're going to jump back to this, Joni, if you don't mind. We're going to jump back to us. If I can figure out where my mouse is. This is us. Really nice to send these over to Steven and I. And I got them. I set them down. And I kept telling myself for the past week, DM them and thank them. And life has been insane. Thank you. I really do appreciate it. And I'm not like joking that the egg incubator is like one of my favorite things. Cool. It's one of those things to where like I don't shoot inside of my techno drone anymore because I have Baxter Stockman in there pushing a button and I just love looking at it. And it's always there. Steven showing off some of the items right there, but I didn't open mine because I wanted to have a live experience on that.
See, I knew you were going to do that, so that's why I opened mine.
Like, I don't care. I want to play with it.
Yeah.
So this is going to be the awkward phase where we kind of go through what we got sent here. I'm already super excited on a lot of these are these plastic pieces, Joni?
Yeah, so those pieces, they're laminated, but they actually come as a PDF download with it. Like we laminated them and sent them to you guys so you could have them. But when you buy the product itself, those are printable for yourself.
These are awesome. These are
wow. So little ones go, the big ones are like for the wall of the place. Yeah.
Very well detailed.
The lab.
So how did you guys come up with this idea?
I think originally, actually, it's hard to know exactly where it came from, but I do know that we talk with Jonathan from Nostalgia Unboxed fairly often.
Yep.
And he was always complaining that there were no tools. Like, oh, we have this layer and we have these things, but there's no like things to do anything with in here. He works with tools. He needs some tools. So he would say that here and there. And then, same thing. We just kind of agreed with that. Like the turtle layer original first piece came with seemed like way more interactive accessory type things. And then, you get to the lab and it's sort of bare. So, we wanted to have some things to kind of interact with in that space. And I've been forbidden to use the word cute, but I'm going to use it anyway because I just love the little tiny, the little tiny tools that we just started printing. I'm like, it just looks like exactly like a little hammer and a little screwdriver, and both kinds of screwdriver. Like,
it definitely does.
It's just fun to do that detail on stuff.
It has some weight to it.
So
It does.
yeah, so the sides. Yes, they're it's solid, so the sides are all on there, and it's sort of modeled after the turtle communicator, just to kind of give it a little bit of a,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I like that little
throwback to
detail on
that.
it.
Yeah, a little bit of line work on it. Of course, wanted to make sure that he could hold it in his hand, and it would stay together. But the the tools are really fun. And then the other line came out where he has you had earlier the tools in the tool belt.
Yep.
And we saw those come out, and we're like, obviously it's a thing that I think people want to have some tools for him, in the cartoon line. So
yeah, and I think these are awesome. I'll pull out for comparison. This wasn't no one has one of these, but here is the unreleased official NECA one, right? And then I'll put next to it yours, which is a little bit shorter, but what's cool about it is it's more toony.
I was just gonna say that.
It's got that little bit of a thickness and that bulbousness to it, to where I feel like it's more like cartoon-esque.
mm-hmm.
They're both equally awesome. I would recommend, so I know people are going to want to get that release when it comes out with Donnie with his tool belt, but I think people need to get this in addition to it, to be completely honest, because this right here, even if someone's like, well, I can't see myself with those extra tools, this right here is the moneymaker. I think you guys did such an incredible job on this. I don't know how well it goes through in these kinds of photos, so we'll jump back over to the actual photos that aren't blurry as hell, and we'll show them off a little bit more. But I think that this is incredible. These are a must-have. And you mentioned Jonathan, so Jonathan definitely has like a niche for knowing what we don't know that we really want.
Yeah, he's gonna be super jealous that you guys got it first. I can't believe you guys.
Steven, are you able to see the chat?
Yes.
All right. Is there anything we need to talk about? Any questions? Because my camera is directly in front of the chat and I can't see it unless I awkwardly look around like this without my glasses on.
We got people just saying good comments. Too much new toys. Said hey, stuff is really cool.
We're using Cody's Too Much New Toys is our buddy Cody, who actually lets us piggyback off of his StreamYard. So huge shout out to him.
Carlos wants to know one or more items for TMNT going up.
That's a good question.
I'm
Do you
sorry?
have more planned? Right? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah.
Well, this is our newest thing right now. We kind of alternate between turtle stuff and transformer stuff. So we are kind of focusing on turtle stuff for now. We don't have any additional things that are coming out super soon, but if there's ideas, we always like to hear ideas from people too, so I mean, if we hear of something cool and we're like, oh yeah, we definitely need to do that, then we can start working on it.
Definitely.
And I mean, these are our photos, but I think even the pictures honestly don't do it justice. I said that too. Like, I don't think the pictures do it justice because it just in person, it just looks really cool. It's like, I think it's like my favorite piece that we've done so far because of the detail and it's just all interactive.
Yeah. The colors, the brown, like everything about it's awesome. And even the Dons or the Does machines on the side, you can't really get a good idea of it from these photos, but in hand, because it is a 3D print on, like it's 3D text on top of it. It's not a 2D print. It's got a little bit of like it's got a shadow behind it, which makes it look like it has more work on it than you like. That's a compliment. It looks like there's more work that you didn't do, but it looks like it's got a nice like shadow, almost like there's a black layer behind it. I think that's really, really slick.
Yeah, and it's only on one side, so you can see in that one. It's only on the one side, so like if that's not your thing to have that showing, then you can flip it around the other way too, and
exactly
blank, So
this is so neat. I'm glad I waited to open it up, because as someone who screws up a lot of resin prints, I appreciate these a lot more when I get a good one.
Yeah, and that's printed, talking about the amount of time. So something like this, if you look at it, it has several colors. So we do dye. I mentioned we dye our resin. So, anybody that's not familiar with 3D printing, you've got a vat of liquid resin that you're working with. And so, you've got a plate that's in there printing something. You can only print a single color at a time. So we've got green dyed resin in there that prints all the green parts. Then you got to take that vat out, clean it out, put in a different color resin, start a second print, which is the brown for the handle and the handle of the hammer. So we've got lots of little brown pieces in there. Take the resin out, clean it out, put it back. Then we've got gray in for the wrench and the other pieces, and if you look at the tip of the screwdrivers, you're talking about like super tiny little tweezer, things that you're working with, trying to clean that off and keep track of them and all that kind of stuff. So the gray, we do, take that out, put it back in. Then we've got orange and we've got purple to match him. So, we've got all these different colors of resin that we got to go through to get this whole set together, assemble each piece, clean every single piece, assemble each piece, paint all the stuff, do all the line work, clear coat everything. So, there's a lot of work that goes into that and to get that level of detail, but we really just wanted it to look, premium and really well done. So
yeah, I was gonna ask if those are two parts, because they're so clean.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, it's two parts.
Yeah.
Anything that's two different colors has to be printed separately. If we don't want to paint it, we have to print it separately. So that's what we have been doing.
Which is smart, because if you painted it, then you're gonna get paint scuff, because no matter what you do, it is so hard to keep paint from scuffing and scratching off of resin. No, there's like no sealer, no clear coat, nothing. It's got to be like a chemical reaction that I just don't know works. So that's the smartest thing to do. So that's a lot of steps. Which
it's a lot of steps. It's a lot of pieces. Assembly, getting it all together, and all that. So I'm happy with the result, but it definitely was a lot of different parts and pieces to get it all together in one little package like that.
So this isn't on the website yet, right?
It should be published now.
I didn't check.
Put it up. Yeah.
We can always double check. That's why we have fun here.
I'll check as well.
Yeah.
So for anybody that is watching, link is below to their website. If you want to do a quick one, just jump right in.
Should be right on that featured part.
I'm going to post the link in the comments.
Thank you.
All right. Link is there.
Yep. It's the very first thing on featured if you're on mobile. So.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it. Is most of your traffic on mobile, I'm assuming?
I think so. Yeah. I'm too old to only work on mobile.
Yeah. I'm the same way. I put so much effort. I actually do the website for Bull Airs, so like I do all the editing and all of that, and I always put so much work into the web browser part of it, and then I would go look at like the amount of traffic we have, and it's like I'll share a little bit of information. This is zero flex, so like last month I think it was like 400,000 views on our website, and 96% of them were on their mobile phone. It was like 4% with all that work I put in. It's like that's still a lot of numbers, but like the other numbers are way higher.
Yeah.
Same thing with the Party Wagon podcast. I'm sorry, Party Wagon website. It's mostly mobile.
Yeah, everybody's on mobile these days. They're in the bathroom. They're buying 3D prints, man. That's what they do. I mean, I'd be lying if I didn't buy a 3D printed dwarf head yesterday while I was brushing my teeth. So.
True multitasker.
Yeah, I'm really in the Mythic Legions right now. It's another toy company, and I was showing Sean, one of our other Party Wagon admins. I just disassembled a skeleton, and this is all of his armor. I'm gonna go back to painting this probably tomorrow, but I got little bones hanging around and stuff. It's my new passion. I'm going to keep going through these photos. I don't know what's here. I didn't have a chance to look at all of them. I made you your own special folder so it didn't get mixed in anywhere. But I know there's a two videos in this. Let's see. Oh, there's a good shot. Donnie holding it.
Yeah.
Reminder: figures not included. Isn't it crazy? We have
gotta
to
put that in there.
We have to put that. Isn't that nuts?
Disclaimer. Sorry.
Yeah. It's like I want to do it at work because when we do like photo shoots with like Tom, my boss, wearing the shoes, I'm gonna be like human legs not included, or like jeans. It's there are people out there. They'll come after you for the silliest stuff. But just absolutely beautiful. I love these. And
I'm really happy with how close the purple matched him. Just because I'm the one that does the coloring of the resin, and in that picture I was like, it looks so good with him.
Look at it comparative to he's gonna bring it a little bit bigger. Comparative to his wrist strap. Is it wristband? I don't know. Is that just his little strap? Whatever. It looks beautiful. Like that. You're great. Good job on that. Do you use Pantones? Do you actually go through and look for Pantones, or you just try to color match with your best?
No, I just try to match it. Yeah, we just kind of mess with it until it works. And the tricky thing is that you mess with it in liquid, and then once it's printed, it's a little different too. And once it's cured, it'll look different. So it's kind of like you never really know how it's going to turn out till you're totally done. So I'm happy when it turns out the way I hoped.
If you don't mind me asking, because none of this was like vetted, it was just random. To get that purple, how many times did you get it right on the first try, or was it multiple times?
That one actually was we had several purples, and I just picked the one that I thought was going to be the closest, and it ended up matching really well.
Oh, that's awesome.
We really weren't intentionally trying to super match him. We were just like, it's purple, it's going to be a purple. We'll put it in there. It just was cool that it ended up being so close, really.
Yeah, it's beautiful. You don't ever have to try to mix, do you? Or do you buy the pre-mixed colors, or do you actually do the additives?
No, we buy white resin, and then we have several different kinds of dye. I try to not mix two different colors of dye to make new colors, because it's really hard to duplicate. You know, like you just can't get the same color consistently for things.
You have to measure everything every single time.
Yeah, I have syringes that I measure all the dyes with. Yeah. Yeah, it's great because I tried to do it different ways, and I'm like, this is inconsistent. So I have a whole like dye station that has. We don't as much now put mica, like metal in the resin because it tears up stuff. But we have like tiny things to measure that out. We have syringes and all kinds of different things to try and keep it really consistent, because even the incubator, that you were talking about that you have. It's, although it's gray, it has a little bit of dye in it, and just trying to keep those consistent. And then the shredder throne that we make is the same color as the incubator, because we want it to match, if you're going to put them together. So we have to be able to consistently make that for two different products too. So you have to kind of really be careful with dyeing a whole bottle, 1,000 grams of resin. To get it the same color.
We'll get to the question from Brian in a second, but it's funny you brought that up, because I remember, I think that's how we started talking, was I was jokingly harassing one of you in a comment section about stealing my shredder throne that I did, because it was so close.
Yeah.
I was looking at as you were talking, I was like, oh, that shredder throne. That was the very first thing I ever modeled, ever. And it's super crude. I use Microsoft 3D Builder. I don't know. I can't use Blender to save my life. My brain just can't fathom it. And I've been trying. So I just use I build everything out of squares, rectangles, cylinders, circles, and then I start cutting away on it. And that's all I do. It's very crude. And that's why all my stuff is always polygonal. There's no round edges on any of it, really, outside of a circle. So Brian says, are you measuring tints for consistency, or trying to print single runs for each color tint?
Yeah, well, we kind of do both. I mean, we definitely measure for consistency on big items because there's some things that have to, depending on the size, we want to make sure that there's enough resin in the vat for the entire print. Like, you know, it only holds so much. And if it starts to run low during the print, you can get some weird things on the sides of the print, you know, and it doesn't come out right. So we try to keep it really full, which is typically like 1.5 vials of resin that we have to put in there. And if we're running it a couple times, you know, you're adding. So it's got to be equal, or you're going to have, you know, partway through prints, it's going to look strange and stuff like that. So we definitely measure them. But for stuff that's really small, we'll just do a whole bunch. You know, like the handles on the screwdrivers, it's like, let's just do a whole bunch so that we've got them and we don't have to try and, you know, keep matching it and do it.
Yeah, I definitely feel and understand that, because I'm looking at how I would probably do it, and I would do an absolute armada of handles. Like, you know, it's like and just pray it doesn't fall off.
Yeah, it'll snap off.
Because for those who don't know, as Joni was explaining, hopefully you can see my little tiny video over here. It doesn't print like an FDM where it's a nozzle and then the nozzle goes up and the print stays on the bed. The bed is in a vat, and the vat laminates it, like shoots a UV light, and what that does, it hardens a layer by layer, and it pulls it out, and the print has to stay on that metal piece that is essentially fighting gravity at that point and using chemical reaction to stick to the metal plate. So my problem is they always fall in and I just ruin the whole thing. And then I've got a whole layer of just a design that's like, it's supposed to be this, like a turtle head, and it's like just a squished, like a potato chip.
Yeah, and it's against a force too, because the bottom of the vat is flexible. So it's like a big taunt drum. And so every time it's pulling it off, it's ripping it off, you know, so it's, if you don't have it attached properly. And that's another thing that's tricky too, as far as the amount of time it takes. When you start dyeing the resins and the colors are different, the amount of UV light that gets through that particular color is different. So you have to change the settings on the printer for every single color that we use too.
Yeah.
Because the amount of time it has to stick for each, like if you measure it in seconds, how long it's going to be exposed to the light. And obviously for darker colors, it has to be exposed longer or it's going to fall off or rip off.
Yeah.
So, you know, for each thing, we have to dial it in and tweak it in. And you can't do it too much, because if you, like we say, cook it too long, it will like spread out. You know, it ruins the prints if you do it too long. So it's all of this sweet spot kind of stuff you have to figure out.
It's so much dialing it in. It takes so much patience, and that's why I always double down. Worth the money. The amount of stress and time that go into making these things perfect, well worth the price of admission. And I know Jonathan, if he watches this, sees this, or either probably will already say it on Nostalgia Unboxed, he will double down on, like, that stuff is worth every single penny.
Absolutely. We do have another question from Carlos. Are you going to make accessories for the party wagon?
We don't have anything planned right now. You know, again, there was a lot of stuff that came with that, and a lot of different, like, a lot of different things we saw out there were more like kind of the stuff that Jonathan was doing, like for the windows and, you know, smoke effects and stuff like that. So yeah, we didn't see a lot that lended itself specifically to something that had to be 3D printed, you know, because we kind of look at that too. Like, does it need to be, is it such a specialty thing that's basically, oh, look, Jonathan is there.
Yeah. Hey, what's up, buddy?
Hey. So I have a suggestion, if I may.
Okay. Yeah.
So NECA, for the hood.
Is about the hood. Yep. I'll let you say it. I was thinking about it too.
So NECA made a special section for the hood where you can make an attachment or something. So I would love to see like maybe a spring where the turtles can stand, or maybe something else.
So Joni, do you know what we're referencing about the turtle?
No, not the spot specifically.
So
yeah, I think his is in the box. Yeah, we don't have it out. I think
unbelievable.
It's in the box.
So so I know that stuff is planned, but I don't know if and when it'll come out. But your normal how the lid opens up and that's how they jump out and do their whole thing, right? The hexagons, octagons is an octagon. Someone keep me true here with my polygonals. The two that are in the middle actually pop off, and they're removable, and there's 2 holes in there for accessories. So so NECA was planning on getting accessories that go on top of that turtle van, so you can probably capitalize on that. I would grab mine if mine wasn't just buried with turtles right now.
I can grab mine. Let me grab it. Let
If
me
you
see if I
want.
can actually show it off. Hold on.
Yeah. While you're doing that, Joni, can I go to the slide with the video?
Yeah, go ahead. I'm not sure which one that is. Is that our? Oh yeah.
Let me see if I can actually show it somehow.
I love the little faces in this one.
So do I.
Let's see.
And since we know Jonathan's in here, neener, we got it before you. I get so jealous of the stuff that he gets early because he's definitely dialed in. I've been so busy that I feel like I'm such an outsider of the community right now because I don't know anything. Oh, there you go.
Oh, okay.
Here, we'll zoom in on Stevan here.
Yes.
Does that work? There it is. Cool.
So this part comes off from there.
Oh, okay.
And so they haven't made any accessories yet. So let's see if you guys could be the first.
Yeah.
You know.
And it could be anything. I personally don't even want to see things from the show because I know what could be coming. I want to see what could be awesome.
Agreed.
Goofy little seats or he said springs that come out of it, or I'd love to see what you guys come up with. If you wanted, obviously. And just see what creative fun things we could do. Because one of the things that I love about the Turtles community of stuff, and I know Near Mad Hatter has said 1,000 times, we are not starving for turtles this year. Everything's coming out, but I'm losing the interest in the creativity of things I'm seeing, and that's why I'm so hyped on this because I was no way, this is just so much fun. And the only time I've seen anybody else do it was a Super 7 with a $500 turtle van is how you can get his tool kit. So seeing something like that come from the community is awesome. So there's my challenge to you and Jeff is figure out something super fun. I think would be really neat about that. Yeah. I will note I took the head off of this. Not supposed to show this, but I'm doing it anyway because it's worth it in my opinion. Like I said, I took the head off because the head has not been shown yet. But with the Donatello with the tool belt that we've talked about, right? This is where I think a lot of the perk is. And I like to bring up worst case scenarios, people's negative mindset. Why should I buy that if we're already getting it? You know why? Because these are from Mirage. And we've been seeing a lot of beautiful photos in Donnie's lab with the tools for cartoon turtles. And we're never going to get those, I don't think, ever. So why should you get them? Because we're never going to get Toon Turtle accessories like that. So although this is cool, that's all you're getting for Donnie's arsenal of belt stuff, I guess.
Right. And for me, I'm a Toon guy, so I wanted more Toony.
That's what we were going for, was the Toon side of things, because we had seen those photos when they first came out. We're we were already in the midst of doing it, but it's they're still not Toon. So.
Yeah. I'm here for it though. I'm really excited. So I appreciate you guys for giving us something we didn't have. Especially this thing is so, I'm so enamored by the quality of this. I can't get over it.
Good. Yeah. It's fun, to see the different things and be able to think up stuff. I mean, that is the part, it still gets me about the technology of it all, is you really can just think up something and print it. You can figure it out.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And in my personal opinion, so for me, learning how to do the stuff by myself during COVID, it felt so rewarding once I got from the nightmare to the final. Do you guys still experience that with every piece you're doing from concept to final piece? Do you still got that spark that hell yeah, I did it?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think the cool thing is that we have been able to improve things, you know, like we figured out how to do stuff and we can make it better. And we know what things to tweak to be able to do that now. You know, like we're kind of taking a shot in the dark in the beginning and figuring it out. And it was more painful. You know, the fun part now is like, hey, you know, somebody says, hey, can you do this? We're like, yeah, actually, I think we can. You know, we go through and we do it. And then just, you know, just be able to hold it in your hand and see other people have it too. Honestly, that's kind of the biggest thing is when fans buy it and then put pictures up and we see our stuff in their dioramas or whatever it is that they're doing. Like, that's so cool to see, like, that people are enjoying it and enjoy the hobby just like we do and have, you know, can get stuff that they want that's cool and different.
Yeah, I agree. One thought that popped in my head, are these ready to go? So let's just say someone wanted to buy one of these for someone else for Christmas. Are these going to be arriving before the holiday if they celebrate on the 25th?
Yes, actually we did make several to have that are 100% ready. There's more printed that need a little bit of work, but they can be ready within a few days. And then the other stuff in our collection too, we tried to get as many things in stock as possible to have available. You know, we mentioned before the doors and the signs, you know, so we have the doors that go into the diorama. We've got the furniture. We have our chair, which
let me highlight you or see if I can
specialty
bring it up.
splinter tail hole in it.
That's what that is?
Yeah. So, you know, here's the regular one.
I guess I got to get one.
The special thing of this one is that Splinter can actually sit in it and not have weird sitting.
That's so good.
We actually debated that too. Like, does it look weird with a hole in it? I don't know, but it, like, once he's sitting in it, it totally works, you know? So mostly we try to do things that are not already out there, but like if we can do something that we want is a little bit better, we think was missing, then we'll do that, you know? So we did that. That was a little bit different. The couch, same thing. Like, here's the original, here's the couch that comes with, this is ours. It's a little bit, it's definitely heftier. It's taller, but it has these little things for their shells. So that when they sit down, they're not like hovering over the seat, you know? And I mean, we literally printed prototypes, figured out where the hole goes, made sure that their feet still were on the floor, you know, like we don't mess around trying to like do chintzy work, you know what I mean? Like we really are like looking at it, you know, that's kind of my thing is like, I don't know. It's, you know, his feet should be on the floor or his arm should be able to fit on this armrest and look normal, you know, if you're a turtle on a couch, you know, for that kind of stuff, you know. So we really try to hit the details in that kind of way and make it really have little touches like that.
Yeah, like that's insane, like, to be completely honest. So I mean, I already provide enough feedback for customer service or lack thereof over with the NECA boys. So maybe I'll have to be like, hey, you got to consult them over there on some really cool, like, maybe not saying fixes, you know, things you might not have thought of, and throw them some money. Because those are awesome. If you don't mind me asking, that's a big couch. Is that resin or is that FDM?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is full. Yeah, everything we do is resin. So it's not solid.
Okay. I was going to ask. Like,
yeah,
it's like you did with the incubator. That's right, which is freaking brilliant.
Yeah. So there's parts of it. It's like a honeycomb, you know. So it's solid enough. I mean, it's still hefty, but it's again printed directly onto the build plate, so that we can not have a bunch of sanding and supports or anything. So you get a nice clean line on the bottom here.
Yeah.
And then, you know, like it's angled just a little bit in the back so that it's more like a actual couch and not real stilted and everything. It's got the line work on it. This one you talked about blender. So we try to avoid blender a little bit too, because it is kind of a nightmare. But when you have to have something that is has soft, you know, curves to it, you need to have that. So we do modeling first and then bring it into blender and finish it. So, you know, like to have the little curves in there and all that is all modeled out, you know, to make sure that it's not just stiff, you know. even though there's a lot to it, and it's all one piece. So when we originally made this couch, was one of our first turtle things. It was 2 sides, a back, a bottom, and a top. So it was all these pieces that you had to put together.
Right.
And so that necessitated us charging a lot more for it, because you're doubling up on the resin, on some things. You had a lot of pieces in there. We painted it rather than dyed it. So there was a lot more work that went into it. And then we re-engineered it, and we're like, oh, we learned so much, we can do this so much better now,
Yeah.
and it's, and then accordingly we can charge less so that more people are, can get it. So that's,
and with resin, with what you were talking about, like the first steps, that's a lot more time, because with resin, it is an exposure. So even if you do all one, it's all the same like amount of resin, I guess, being used, I guess we'll say, it's less time because it's all one piece. It's less, because it's it's less exposure time essentially for the whole thing. So that's always smart. I think that's brilliant to really keep it as like one piece. That's gotta be a big vat too. I can't even imagine.
Yeah, we bought the largest 3D printer that you could buy at the time, like outside of commercial printer.
Yeah.
Because we knew we wanted to do some big things in there. So yeah, our it's about the size of a sheet of paper. Our XY is, and then our Z is pretty big. So we could go super tall, although we don't have anything that's real tall. But
that's amazing. Mine's like a postcard. I got like a Photon S.
Yeah, the average one is like that. Yeah, ours is like 8 by 10 or something like that. It's in millimeters, so I don't remember exactly what it is.
We got Oscar Kano, Oski, known customizer of the community, saying, "May we get some dark turtle accessories?"
Dark turtle accessories.
Yes, a lot of people love the dark turtle, including myself.
Yeah.
So I would always love more accessories.
Yeah, I mean, we can look into all kinds of stuff. It's all about the demand. I mean, that's one thing that's great about the Transformers community too, is like they'll say like, hey, this thing's coming out, I want this, and then people will be like, yep, I want that too, so we can get a good idea ahead of time, like, okay, this is going to be worth it to do because we've got a group of people that already say that they want that, so yeah. That's great to hear from the turtle community too, like, tell us what you want, second that, and be like, yeah, I would want that too. Because it's a little bit tougher, because the the price point for a turtle is so much lower, so it's like, depending on how much you want to, I mean, you could build things out hugely, but does everybody have the room to do that? Does everybody have, right, all of that stuff? So it's kind of like I feel like there's levels of people that are like, well, I just want the basic stuff because I don't have that much room, or I don't, I just have this amount of budget or whatever. And then we try to make things that'll fit into what you already have, or, fit in the I'm mirrored here, in the detolfs, so that, because so many people have those, and, try to make sure that we're going with what fans are going to actually want, and use too.
Yeah. I'm not in the Transformers community, but one of my best friends is, and he is a diehard, but he's like vintage Optimus Prime. Like, he's ridiculous. Like, I need to have the Singapore one with this sticker pack, and then it's got to have this color screws on it, or it's going to be the wrong. He's the weirdest guy. That's how he is. But, it's going to sound as a semi uneducated, ignorant statement, but is the Transformers community more, I'm going to say, ravenous, as in they want the stuff, than the Turtles community? Are you seeing, is the Transformers like just so hungry for cool things? Because I know they are. Do you see that with the stuff you're creating?
That's part of it. Another part of it, I think, is that they're very particular.
Yes.
A figure will come out and it's like, oh, the chest plate is not the right color. Can you make a new one that has this line work, or this type of switch out color, or this type of symbol on it? I mean, so we make parts for the Transformers because they want that particular thing to look differently.
Yeah.
Whether they want it to match the toy or the cartoon, because those were different too. The cartoon, came out and had colorings of one kind, then they'd make a toy and it would look totally different. And so some people like one version, some people like the other. And if when they make a toy, they make decisions, obviously, about how it's going to look somewhere in between. And some people are like, nope, I want it this particular way. So, there's that aspect of it too, that I think there's just very specific, people have like this picture in their mind. And, there's a lot of third-party companies out there that make a lot of different stuff too. So there's a lot to choose from, out there, and you can kind of say like, okay, well, I'm going to make this for this one particular company or figure or whatever.
Yeah.
The turtles are different in that they have, I feel like the variety of accessories and stuff is bigger, like more fun kind of almost. It's not just robots, like there's all kinds of other stuff to play with and do. But again, it kind of comes down to like, how big do you want to go? How detailed do you want? And something I've also noticed is that I feel like Transformer fans show off their stuff a lot more. I don't know like what the deal is, but they'll take pictures of every, like we see so many pictures of our stuff because people get a thing and they take a picture. And I don't see that as much with Turtle fans. Like they like the stuff and they do it, but they're not like out there showing off dioramas super often. The toy photographers are, but like your average collector, I don't feel like necessarily is.
Yeah, going off of just base level ignorance, and a lot of that's because like my son, one of my best friends, is obsessed with that stuff. When I get a little bit of a taste of the community through him, it seems like, and this is zero disrespect to anybody in the Turtles community, I feel like the people that are the Transformers fans, they're a little bit older, and they tend to usually have a little bit more money. So they're more proud. It's almost like that guy that buys the Harley Davidson, and it's his new personality. And he's just showing it off all the time, like he's a Harley guy. That's how the Transformers community is in my eyes, which is totally fine because that's how I feel in the Turtles community. Like,
well, there's $200, $250, $300 figures out there, that people are buying too. And you're, unless you're buying the turtle van or so, like a big thing, there's not as many things out there that are in the multi-$100 range in the, on the turtle side. So it's more accessible to more people, I think, because of that, which is nice, from an entry point. You don't have to make a huge investment in it. But yeah, I mean, maybe it is that like sort of a pride thing, like, oh, I spent all this money on this thing and I want to show it off.
Yeah, if I'm buying one of those Robeson, like Optimus Prime, like
oh my gosh,
if I'm buying one of those, like I'm showing that damn thing off every second I got. Like that's my child. There's pictures. There'll be pictures.
Put it at the dinner table. I mean, that thing.
I'll have pictures in my wall. Like this is my child. Like in just different poses. Like
well, if you drop $1,500 on it, sure, yeah.
Those are beautiful. I want one, and I don't even.
They're super cool. Oh yeah, we've seen them at the shows that we go to, and they're cool. But still, like you'll see somebody walking by with a bag that bought one, and they're like,
yeah.
I can't see just dropping $1,500 on something at a convention. I don't know.
Yeah, I could never. But I appreciate you answering that for me because like I see that you do have a lot of Transformers there, so I feel like I'm talking to some of the right people. I do see some Star Wars in the back, and I don't know what Star Wars stuff you guys might be into, but Tom, my boss, Bull Ayers, he is obsessed with Star Wars. That's his thing. So I'd be interested to see what we got. That man has so many Star Wars hot toys in the office. It's absurd. We have we have Han Solo life size, like in car. It's silly. So he wants to redecorate the whole office to look like Tatooine or some shit. He's that in. He wants to redo it. So fun thing. Maybe we'll tap you on the shoulder at some point for some ideas when we do it. But we want to redesign our whole office, and like my whole office will be a literal sewer, like a turtle layer,
literal sewer,
walls and everything. Like his is going to be like Tatooine or like Alderaan or some shit. And you want he is all in. Are you familiar with Sideshow Collectibles?
Oh, yeah.
So they're all really good friends of ours. So Tom, I had to bail, but Tom went and visited their offices. It's unreal. And I'm seeing some of the stuff that you guys do, and I'm like, man, I feel like with the vision and what they do, like I just see there's so many like years going right now. So that's just really cool. And for you guys, I just feel sky's the limit. There's so many cool things you can do, and I just love seeing the new things that keep coming out. And I am going to go look and see what Transformers things you're doing because I was completely naive to that, and then see what other stuff's on there because I've been expanding my horizons outside of Turtles lately. So I like to see what kind of other cool stuff you're doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we want people to, show off their hobby, like show things off, have some cool accessories with it. That's kind of our thing is like, if you're going to have a hobby and invest something in it, we don't want it to just be a figure on a shelf, like have it do something, have it hold something, have it stand on something. We have different stands and chairs and things that just make it more fun, not just, standing there.
Just
chilling.
oh, you mean standing there straight legged in a detour with a man in a blue shirt in front of it, right?
Yeah, it's pretty scary. Thanks.
All that stuff. He's got risers at least.
Yeah. See? Exactly.
I always harass him. I don't know if you've ever watched our thing, but our little shtick is I always rip on him for his straight leg turtles. It's always just like
well, he's got the army back there with the street scenes. Like they're just like, it's like when the police come to a riot and they're like shoulder to shoulder, making sure people can't get through.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know how well mine will come through. I'll try to turn my camera a little bit, but like this is part of my wall of it's kind of like Steven's, but it just I have to do it like you're saying, like little accessories standing on things, have to have like little things with them at all times. That's how I do mine. So I'm definitely your crowd.
Yeah, you can't see it in here, but we have 2 street scenes and there's stuff going on, all over them. And then the sewer and the Donnie's lab are underneath, and it's a little bit of a death trap right now because we took things out to take pictures of it, but they're like doing stuff in there, changing it up different times and doing different stuff. So it's like, it's kind of fun. Even the pictures that we have on there, it's kind of fun, just like trying stuff out with them and having different pictures. And the dioramas for the street are so flexible. You can do so many different things with them. It's really cool, because you can take out the bricks and you can take out the doors and change stuff out. And, there's different figures you can put doing different things and jumping off the top down to the bottom and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
I definitely feel that like death trap. That's why I haven't gotten up to grab the incubator off the shelf, is because I have to jump over so many toys from Black Friday that got delivered.
You just go down.
I got screamed at today. How many more goddamn toys are coming? I'm like, some.
Probably more.
I bought a lot, but we will wrap this up here very, very soon, but I do want to highlight, because I just scrolled a little bit more. I did see that we do have exactly what I was talking about with the Technodrome Pizza Monster Incubator, which is my intro to you guys. First time getting this piece. Glass comes off the top. It's got a little tiny like circular ring on it. Oh, you've got it right there. Here, she has it in hand. Let's see. That's Steven. No, we don't like Steven. There it is.
Yeah. So it's got this another little detail that I like are the little meatballs. Like you can't even really see them, but they're just the little tiny, there you go, little meatballs in there to cook, and they're sparkly. Yeah, and then that comes off if you want to take that off of the top of the incubator and put the actual little pizza monster in there. He fits in there too.
Yep, there he is.
And then the buttons and all that are colored so that they can do things with it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just when I first got this in my hand, I remember how blown away I was by the lid, because it's got that little lip on it that slots into the back of it, so it doesn't fall off. It's not, you don't just set it on; it kind of slips in a little bit, so it almost like semi locks itself in. You can't really see it, but it's right there on the mouse, right there.
Yeah,
that's just genius.
Yeah, it's got that in there.
Let me see if I can swing back in. Yeah,
I don't know how well you can see it even on that too, but yeah, it's like this thing, and there's a little hole inside of there.
Unreal.
Tab. Yeah.
Like I would have never have done that in my life. If I designed that, that would never been a thought in my mind. I would have been like, how can I just make this cool? And that would have been it.
Well, and that same thing, that's kind of how we started, was just let's make something cool. And then later on, it was like, how can we make this print the best way, turn out the best way, stay together, survive shipping. There's just like all these other things that we've had to really check on. And we want to compete on having things be unique and really good quality. Like we want it to be clear that that's our focus is on the quality and the engineering, sort of side of it, the details.
Yeah. And you can see it. I remember early on, I got asked to make one of these and I never did because I couldn't figure it out. And I'm just now discovering that you guys did a cool little gargoyles stand, which I think is amazing.
Yeah, and that was the thing. Like so we've got drawers in that one to hold as accessories. We do that with some of the Transformer stuff too, because they come with a lot of weapons and doodads. And he came with a jalapeno pepper that we specifically put a spot in there for it in this book. Yeah, so all that stuff fits in there. And then the wings on those things, they were really weird. Like you couldn't adjust them very well, and he couldn't stand. They're so long, like he can't stand with them down. And if you put him up, he takes up like a huge amount of space in your cabinet. So it's like, let's find a way to display him that makes more sense.
Yeah, this is just genius. And I think these are worth getting. I will say a little bit. This is going to be a hefty piece. Goliath is big. This looks like it's going to be a little bit of a heavier piece, which I understand with all the extra little pieces too. $48. If you are collecting the Gargoyles line, I know a lot of the Turtles guys did, and you were getting the base Gargoyles, they are all out. So you don't have to worry about these essentially selling out in 2 years when you're still collecting the Gargoyles line. You've got all the Gargoyles you need. Rip to Gargoyles, but this is I grabbed these. I keep seeing Danny show up. Danny is a good buddy of mine. Thank you for highlighting him, Steven. I've been like, if you see me like doing like juking and jiving, I'm trying to like see his comment through my my tripod. So thank you. What's up, Danny? If you're still here. But I recommend getting these because we don't have any displays for freaking Gargoyles and we're never going to. So this is just a couple of different items that they're offering through their store site.
Yeah, and we have, like, you can see the stands there too. Even something simple like that, we've got, a couple of stands. If you want to have something that's just a little bit different, if you are in favor of having them just stand, that's still 3D printed. It's a little bit of a more unique thing than just having them on the ground. And some of them, like April, can't barely stand on her own. So they actually make them able to be displayed because otherwise they're laying down and falling over.
Yeah. And these are heavier than a normal plastic one because they're resin. So they're going to not topple over. You're not going to have to worry about it coming up with the figure.
Yeah. The pegs on them are a hassle. Honestly, we had to make different peg sizes because the holes on the figures are all different. Yeah. So it's kind of like a little frustrating trying to match that up with different ones, but we do have different sizes and they come in the turtle shape, the channel 6, and then a foot. So they're in different designs too, just to get an idea of the kinds of things that we can do,
There's the foot one we were just talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I saw that Jonathan had mentioned the quality's top notch. Doubling down on it as someone who has the worst trouble with these damn things myself. Yes. These things are better than they look. Look at that. We've got the crown. This is the coronation crown. Am I right?
Yeah, he has a whole throne too. That's our biggest piece is his throne.
Oh, really? Yeah, the coronation crown. $10. Worth it. I know a little bit about Transformers. So, Marvel vs. Capcom 2, really cool, especially with like a lot of the Street Fighter figures coming out. You got Street Fighter from Jada Toys, then you've got the Hasbro stuff.
Yeah, so people that have an arcade one-up cabinet, a lot of people are into modding those. So we just kind of dipped our toes into doing a little bit of stuff for that.
Oh, is that for the joystick?
It's for the joysticks, yeah.
I noticed
we have a couple different ones. We've got Killer Instinct, Pac-Man, Ms. Pac-Man.
This is all awesome. Look at the size on this. And do you guys go in and have to line these out every time?
Yeah. So that's Jeff's job. He's got the steady hands.
harder than it sounds. What people don't understand is even if it's a divot and you're putting and you're lining it, you're still getting spillover onto the walls. It's not easy.
Well, yeah, and to that point, honestly, we specifically have a width that those lines have to be when you print it, and it has to print accurately, or else it looks like crap when you fill it in with the line work. So yeah, I mean, it's not, we don't just slap lines on it. Like, it's got to be a certain number of millimeters, and it's got to work right to look good. Yeah,
beautiful Grimlock throne. My lord, look at that.
Yeah, and that's the small version. So we've got a mini version and a giant version.
I saw the big one on another page.
Yeah.
Was it this one?
Yeah, that's a big one.
Throne?
Yeah. So, I mean,
awesome.
that's like this. I'm like not mirrored here. Yeah, that was a pretty big one. That was like same thing. We redesigned that. That was one of the first things. I think that was the first thing, honestly, that we ever did. The first version of that. And same thing. It was in multiple pieces. It was like a little bit clunkier because you had to put it together and all that. This is in 2 pieces. The back slides in, and the whole base is a single one. So, it can be a lot cleaner and turn out a lot better.
Yeah. It's perfect. Look at the grays. Like, you guys nailed it with the color. That looks like a production piece. So that's just incredible.
Yeah, we want it to look like it's for all the things, like they belong there. Not that it's like a knockoff, one-off kind of thing. We really want it to fit in and look and feel like it belongs.
Yeah. These are just so cool. I'm just like going through your site, like, what can I buy my friends for the holiday? So, so yeah. Oh, there's a Killer Instinct when you're talking about. Beautiful. That's so cool. Well, thank you so much for letting me go through all of these. Because we fly by the seat of our pants for the 4th time saying that this live stream. Is there anything that you wanted us to go over? Anything that we missed that you wanted to talk about?
I don't think so. I mean, it's cool just to, get out there, get the word out. That's the toughest thing, is just for people to realize that we really do put a lot of effort into making things look super nice and that are as affordable as we can make them for the amount of time we put in them, and that we like to hear feedback from people. We like to see your stuff. If you buy something from us and then show it off, we'd love to see pictures of our stuff in your displays and ideas for other things. I mean, we can't guarantee that we can do it or that we will do it, but a lot, I mean, probably half at least of the stuff that we've made has been at least partially inspired by something that somebody said, or like, oh, this is coming out, this would be cool, or whatever it is. You said earlier, like, we're just trying to make cool stuff, that other people like. And that's what Jeff said in the very beginning. He's like, well, I think it's cool, but I don't know if other people will. Like, that's kind of always the question. Is it a personal taste, or is it something that the whole group of fans will like? So that's always tough to know.
Yeah, that one strikes home. That one strikes home. Like, I definitely feel that. Like, you'd be amazed, because if he's feeling that way, you gotta guarantee other people are feeling that way. Like, I like it. Other people are definitely gonna like it. That's how our career for making shoes kind of launched. It was like, well, I think it's cool. Hopefully other people do, and everybody seemed to have loved it. So definitely on the. I'm not gonna say the right path. You guys are cruising.
Well, I appreciate the chance to talk to you guys and show our stuff off. I mean, I like talking about it, and just getting people to see that we care about our stuff, and we really do look at the details, and we really do want people to be happy. We're real big on customer service and all that kind of stuff too. Like, we want people to be happy with our stuff and to tell other people that they're happy with our stuff, because that's really how we get our customers.
Definitely. Well, I know I bring you up any chance I can get whenever there's the opportunity. And I have been for 2 years now since I got that incubator. I do want to also thank Steven for arranging this from my slacking ass the past, year.
Steven's doing all the logistics.
Yeah.
In the background.
It's one of those weird things. I'm going to be like a weird dick for a second, like towards me. Like I have so many connections with people nowadays. Like I know so many like random like celebrities and like creators in the community, and not once does it go through my mind like, yo, I should get them on the podcast. Like I just don't do that anymore because I'm just like I'm always moving. And Steven's like, yo, can we get this guy on the podcast? Can we get Iacon on the podcast? I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. I'm just here to accommodate. So huge shout out to Steven for organizing this because I wanted this for what 2 years now, Steven? I wanted to do this.
Absolutely.
All I had to do was message you, and I just never did. So
yeah, we're happy to do it. You know, I like talking to people and hearing what people think. You know, because it's like you're in a bubble most of the time. You know, you're just putting stuff out there and seeing it, and sometimes we don't have any idea where people hear from us from most of the time, really, you know.
Yeah,
so sometimes it's just a random thing that shows up or whatever, so it's great to know, like, hey, I saw you here and I saw your stuff and was interested in it, you know.
And that's what the Party Wagon was founded on when I started it 2 years ago. It was 2 years ago, Steven? It's been 2 years. I think it's been like, maybe 3 now. I don't know.
Yeah.
Whenever I started it, the start date's a lie. It was an old group. I don't want to update the rules, but it was straight. Like I wanted to feature people that were creating things. I've always been big in the customs community, creations and everything. So what you and Jeff do are like the core of my vision for the Party Wagon. Although it's kind of run off the rails a little bit that I've been absent. I gotta find some time to do some cleanup, but. Steven.
You can't break over there.
I can't.
It's been spicy the past couple of months, it seems. I want to get it back. I want to make the Party Wagon great again. So we're gonna definitely focus on. I want to focus on a creator.
MTPW. I don't know. Right. On the acronym for that one.
I'll leave you with my idea because someone said something about like Dark Leo accessories. Oscar did. Someone, freaking Oscar. What that really got me thinking, and I don't know what you guys have ever thought about in this realm, but I think it'd be kind of cool to do something like accessories that go on figures. We just got to see that we had Heat Boys are going to do turtles, and they're all grayscale. It just got shown off today. I've seen them in the group, but there's like the straw hat that's on Leonardo. He's got like a shoulder piece. I was literally just watching Matt had a review go over them, so like I was seeing little details, but like little things, little like little pouches, like little baggies, like little tiny pouches, maybe a clip on them, little tiny accessories that can like build out your turtles for customizing or looking cool. So like that's just my little thought. My thought of how do they go on? We just get sticky tack. Johnny Nostalgia's favorite thing in the world I see is sticky tack, and like he's always talking about sticky tack and shit somewhere. So sticky tack on the shoulders, knee pads. We've got that new NECA Dark Leo that my buddy Jason designed, and he's got like spiky pauldrons on his shins and everything. I could just picture stuff like that as like a la carte battle packs or something. So if you guys ever are thinking about taking a crack at something, like that's something that I think might pop off if you do them gray or painted and people can do their own. I've learned that the customizing community for turtles has kind of died out just a little bit. It's not as big as it used to be. But I am seeing it with like me being in the Mythic Legions community now, 4 Horsemen. It's enormous. It's unheard of. And that has inspired me to bring turtles back. Like in the customizing, like I've been working on this little bastard for like 3 months now, but this is kind of like what I'm talking about, where you could just add things and just make them look cooler for people that want to spice up their collection a little bit. So that's my little suggestion.
Cool. Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
Steven, you want to say something?
Something? No. No, I just love your work. I'm definitely gonna be purchasing more in the near future, and your
incubator's on its way to you too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And honestly, when I did receive this, I was shocked because honestly, I think it's the perfect thing for Donnie's Lair. So, it's amazing. So thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had people ask about the coffee machine a lot for the lab.
Yeah.
But it's like, that thing is so detailed. And I just don't know like the amount of work that we have to put into designing that thing for like what you get for it. I'm not sure. We're not convinced that it's worth it. Because it does look cool, but like that's a lot, it's a lot of detail on that bad boy.
Yeah, there's a lot of work on it. I feel like I've got one like on my floor.
There's some other, there's ones out there that people
I
have
have
3D
one
printed.
right there.
I have no idea where it is, but mine's around here somewhere. But yeah, I definitely agree. In my personal opinion, based on how I seen that one made, when we were just looking at Grimlock's throne, where the throne was, I feel like it'd be a very similar build, but it'd be the opposite. Instead of subtracting, it'd be adding just polygons all over the damn place.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, we've seen that. Some people have asked about that, but it's like, yeah, we're trying to find stuff that's not
done yet
in other places. Yeah, like we had started to do the helmet before they ever released that for what is it, Rocksteady?
Yeah.
His helmet before they before they showed that, we're like, oh, we saw this one thing, let's try and do that. And like we were partway through it and they're like, oh nope, so they're putting it out there. So it's kind of like sometimes we'll start to do something and then it's kind of good because it's like, oh well, if NECA decides to do it, then that means at least we're on the right track. Like people are interested in it, but then we kind of have like tangent, like what's close to that, but something they're not going to do, hopefully. So
yeah, I definitely agree. And before that, Does Machines was doing them. He was doing them as well, and they would always sell out instantly. So
that might have been. I think we actually had one. I think Jeff had bought one like before we ever did 3D printing, and had one. And he's like, "Oh, we could do one of these," Yeah.
I missed it every time. Every single time. I even messaged him. I'm like, "Hey man, can you send one of these aside?" He goes, "Yeah, I got you." And then we never got one.
Yeah, and then he stopped making them. I think. Yeah. So it was.
But fun. Well, that's it, Joni. I really appreciate you jumping in. I know we said do like 45 minutes. We always go over. We're big fat liars. We love talking. I love talking. I like hearing my own voice. It seems. But I really appreciate you doing this. And once again, thank you, Stephen, for arranging it.
No problem.
We could do this again in the future if you ever want to jump back on. We don't even have to do it live. This is just something we wanted to do for fun because people like live. I see. I don't know why, but we do things off the cuff. So if you ever have anything fun coming out and you're like, hey, let's use these guys to boost something. Hell yeah, let's do it. We are here to support. We are people of the community. So we will get you to the finish line, I guess, if you have a goal. Now I'm just talking. Now I'm just saying words.
The words are just coming out. Well, we appreciate it. I mean, it is just the two of us and the kids that we hire to pack things, the child labor that we employ to package our goods.
There you go.
True family business in the basement of our house. But yeah, I mean, it's fun. So
think of the silver lining. If they weren't doing that, then the child labor would be vacuuming, doing the dishes, doing the normal chores.
It's entrepreneurial education.
Exactly. Yeah.
I would not. Like, no joke. Like, yes, you are correct. Like, ambition and drive, 100%.
Yeah.
So, thank you again, Joni. Thank you, everybody that joined us today. This was really, really fun. We're not going to number this, but once we're done with the recording, it will go up in the live section of the YouTube channel. It won't be in videos. There's a separate thing that says live. You can rewatch this whole thing again if you'd like. Pause it, look at some cool things if you want to. So I really appreciate, once again, the opportunity to do this because in my eyes, you're a rock star. Jeff's a rock star. So this is super cool to be able to do this and really converse with other creators and getting a peek behind the curtain and show what cool stuff's coming out.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Yep. And anybody can always reach out to us, email us, message us on socials and stuff. And we're there answering your questions or anything you need.
Can confirm.
Cool.
Yep.
All right. Thank you again, everyone. See you back in 2 weeks. And maybe Steven will grow some facial hair. I'll catch y'all later.
I'll see you.
Thanks.